In this episode, I have the pleasure of sharing with you a collection of stories, situations, and personal experiences. As I have mentioned before, I am from Panama. This is the culture I have lived in, the one I was born into, and the one that has shaped my life. And I love it. I really do love it. There are things that bother me, yes, and I don't think I'm the only Panamanian who feels that way. There are things about ourselves that annoy us, but I love it anyway. And that's why I've taken the care to make this little episode where I want to talk to you about the importance of being careful when you start enjoying these festivities. Parents who are watching me and young people too, let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with getting together. There's nothing wrong with it. With having a cold one, a beer, whatever you call it in your country. There's nothing wrong with it every now and then. I mean, no, I was wrong. Smoking. So why do we keep doing it? Why do we keep up this habit? Interesting, right? And the root of it is in the moment when we start. Folks, if you have the chance to say no, do it. Someone offers you a cigarette. No thanks.
Hey, hello. This content is brought to you by our sponsor, EasyBox. If you shop online, their delivery to Cherokee is fast, safe, and hassle-free. EasyBox, the best option for your packages.
The cocoa paint. Take advantage of the deals. Colors that bring peace. Someone offers you a cigarette. No thanks. Don't do it. I swear to you. It's an addiction just like alcohol. Easy to buy, easy to get, and it's everywhere. The root of these little problems often comes from the very first time we try it, the particular mood or emotional state we were in when we had our first beer, the specific state of mind we were experiencing when we smoked our very first cigarette, where it happened, who we were with, what emotional memory or situation it brings back for you. Doing these two things and how it can end up affecting your health in the long run, especially when, let's say, we're those dumb young people whose prefrontal cortex hasn't fully developed yet, and we make decisions on impulse. So, I have a study right here next to me that talks about alcohol in adults, and fertility. It says that by the time you're about 27 or 28 years old, for some people, it's a pretty good age to start a family. So if you're watching me and you're going to parties and you're going out this December to hang out and have a good time, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm not telling you not to enjoy your youth, but do it carefully and use good judgment. Ladies, you're not off the hook either. Why? Because for women, it can cause irregular periods and affect ovulation. I mean, it's the same as with men. They can be seriously affected, and you could end up spending a ton of money trying to have a child. When you were young, you could have truly and genuinely taken care of your body so that in the future you could start a family naturally. Now, for unborn babies, if the mother drinks a lot of alcohol during pregnancy, or let's say her body is that of someone with an addiction problem, it is widely known as a condition called fetal alcohol syndrome. It's one of the main causes of preventable disabilities. Listen to this: preventable disability in the world. This means that just by taking care of yourself and having the necessary precautions, your son or daughter won't have this type of issue. Other problems include intellectual delays, facial deformities, learning difficulties, and low birth weight. So, folks, you really need to be careful, both men and women, because sometimes we think that something as natural and cultural as alcohol is just, yeah, yes, it does have an effect. It really does. When we don't use good judgment, when we don't take the proper precautions, and when we don't know how to say that's enough, to set our own limits so we don't keep drinking and end up harming our bodies. So keep that in mind. Think about it, analyze it, and remember it. Let's move on to the second part, which is about tobacco, or vaping, as it's popularly called now. Vaping tends to result in adults, a syndrome similar to that of alcohol because it potentially damages and reduces the number of healthy swimmers you might have at a given time. Remember that in men, a whole bunch of swimmers come out, but only one makes it. Now imagine if what comes out doesn't even feel like trying anymore. So you have to be very careful in that regard, and not just because you might not be able to have children in the future, but also because you could end up developing cardiovascular disease. And when your child is 8 or 9 years old, you might not be able to run with them because you decided that tobacco was something that would kill you anyway. Wow. At what point? Who are you leaving behind? Who will mourn you? And in women, it affects ovarian reserve and brings menopause earlier. Ladies, when I read this, that it brings menopause earlier, it's a bit concerning because there's actually been a rise in cases of young women with premature menopause. I think it's called early menopause. Women at 38, women at 40 already going through menopause, dealing with these aches and hormonal problems, folks. And it could be the result of an addiction. Who would have thought that vaping, nicotine use, or tobacco could cause or speed up these symptoms that in the past we would only see much later? Thank you. Women usually started experiencing these symptoms around their 50s, almost at retirement age, or they were already at home and could handle it better. But just imagine you're working and suddenly hit with hot flashes, cold sweats, all those emotional ups and downs. Wow. And let's not even get started on babies. When you're in your reproductive years, there's the risk of intrauterine growth restriction. Uterine growth restriction that babies can develop because your body has already absorbed nicotine over the years. It also increases the risk of miscarriages, can cause premature birth, and raises the risk of sudden infant death syndrome. In other words, the baby's risk. So, what can we say about tobacco? What can we say about nicotine use? And what can we say about vaping, which has seen a 300% increase in use over the past 2 years? Folks, we're not realizing that, yes, vaping is more addictive than a regular cigarette. Let's be clear about that. It's harder to quit, but not impossible. You start having problems with your nose and your trachea. You're going to feel a noticeable sense of heaviness or weight in your back when you vape a lot, especially if you do it frequently or over a long period of time. And in the same way, you could end up having complications or issues with regular everyday colds, which might seem minor at first, but can become more serious. There are a lot of people I've seen lately who say things like, "No, I just caught a cold. I thought I was dying. I had so much phlegm." Folks, there are people who, because of a predisposition, have had this problem, already a medical predisposition from having had COVID-19 or H1N1 influenza or some kind of lung or respiratory illness that could have given them this predisposition and this high production of phlegm. This means that if you have a history of respiratory illnesses, or if you have previously suffered from infections like COVID-19 or H1N1, your body might be more likely to react this way, producing more phlegm and making it harder to recover from even simple colds. So it's important to be aware of these risks and to take care of your respiratory health, especially if you vape regularly or have had any of these conditions in the past. Now, I'm asking you, the one who vapes, who smokes, who uses nicotine in 1,000 different ways. How have you felt with your last few colds? How far do you think you're going to take this? And let's talk about these two, which are, in particular, the common legal addictions, such as these. Common legal ones. And nowadays, we have a lot of functional addicts. I would even dare to say that, unfortunately, there are many Panamanians who might be suffering from addiction to both alcohol and tobacco, and they simply haven't realized it. And why do I put it this way when I said I was going to talk about the risk among young people? Because as an adult, you are a role model. And if you don't put a stop to it now, those coming after you, if you at your age have already started vaping or smoking and you're already older, so to speak, what about that kid who's 15, 14, 12, or 13 years old? There have even been cases of 12-year-olds using vapes. When that person is 20, 22, 34, what's going to become of them? When this person is consuming alcohol so legally, so normal, so super casual that many start drinking very young because they say, oh, but one beer won't do anything. One little drink won't hurt. Remember something, not all bodies are the same, and not all systems work the same way. There are a lot of young people at risk. There are many people dying young. Why? Because consuming these two things can lead to cardiovascular problems, it can lead to cardiorespiratory issues. You can have lung problems, you can have liver problems, you can have pancreas problems. And in the end, you want to live. In the end, these young people tomorrow are going to want a future that they are working and striving for. And when they see the habits we have, those of us who are already older, and we make it seem normal to drink or smoke the way we do, it can harm those who are coming up after us. So I urge you to change. I urge you to be the example that we want the next generation to follow as well. Yes, we can say whatever we want, but those kids know more than we do. Why? Why do they know more than we do? Examples, folks. Adults, grown-ups who had access to social media, and look, a lack of supervision from mom and dad. So, stay alert, take care of yourself, watch the example you set for your kids, and keep moving forward. And follow me here on my podcast, The Last Survivors, and I'll see you in the second part of this episode.